What's going on, guys? My name is Sean, and this is my very own blockbuster. So, if you're like me, you've been following the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the past 18 years. 2008 is when the original Iron Man released. I've been a huge Marvel fan my entire life, even before the MCU started. So, today I thought, why not rank all 38 MCU films? So, there's some that I love, there's some that I hate, and everything in between. So, without further ado, let's get started. My number 38 is The Marvels. I am not a fan at all with what they did with this character. The casting of Brie Larson is awful, in my opinion. Um, yeah, the only thing that kind of saves this is Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, but honestly, it's not enough. I am not a fan of this film, and I would not own it if it weren't for the fact that I want to own the entire franchise. So, yeah, unfortunately, the Marvels, with what they've done, just, yeah, it makes it last place on the ranking. And then just barely better than that is Captain Marvel, the original. Ben Mendelsohn as the, honestly, I don't remember their name. That's how not great this is. But Ben Mendelsohn is a good actor, and he helps this one. Same with Samuel Jackson again. But yeah, just uninspired, not great acting by Brie Larson, and pretty awful CGI make this one very forgettable. And yeah, it's very near the bottom. So yeah, both Captain Marvel movies, not a fan. Then at 36th place, we have Thor: The Dark World. Yeah, just not a fan of this one. It didn't work for me. Very boring for the most part, to be honest. Natalie Portman just seems like she does not want to be here. Chris Hemsworth is very not Thor here, in my opinion. He had the good balance in the original. Then Thor Ragnarok, he had the balance again. But in this one, he was way too serious. And then in the next one, which I'm about to talk about, in 35th place, Thor Love and Thunder. He was just to the opposite direction. So he wasn't serious, but he was just too comedic. So, he had the balance in the original, like I said, in Thor Ragnarok, in the Avengers movies, but yeah, this one he tried way too hard to be funny, and for the most part this movie wasn't funny. It was pretty bad. It was pretty stupid. The screaming goats pissed me off, honestly, and yeah, just it was a waste of Russell Crowe too, to be honest. And yeah, not a fan of this one at all. So that makes it in 35th place. In 34th place, I have Captain America Brave New World. I wanted to like this one more, to be honest. I heard a lot of hate about it before I watched it. The steelbook's nice, but the movie itself, honestly, it needed Chris Evans back, to be honest, as Captain America. Guess that's probably why they're bringing him back for Avengers Doomsday. But yeah, Anthony Mackie is good, but he's just not Chris Evans. And yeah, the addition of Harrison Ford was nice. I love Harrison Ford as an actor, but yeah, the movie itself, it was kind of boring. The story was meh. The action was barely there. Red Hulk was in the movie for a total of 5 minutes, if that. So yeah, it was okay. It brought back some characters from the Incredible Hulk, but was that even really needed? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it was fine, but not one that I would rewatch too often. Then we have Eternals. Yeah, this was just a mess, to be honest. It had some good characters in it, but for the most part, it was pretty boring. It was very messy. There's probably a reason why they're not going to make another Eternals movie. At least I don't think so. It's because this just didn't work. Honestly, way too many characters, and none of them were very compelling, to be honest. So Eternals comes in at, I think this is 33 or 34. Honestly, I'm losing count, so I'm probably just going to say up next going forward. Then we have Iron Man 2. Yeah, the original Iron Man is fantastic, but what they did with the sequel was a little ridiculous. They turned the comedy levels way up, but then you also had like serious moments about alcoholism, and it just didn't work. Now, the addition of Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, that was great as an introduction, but Whiplash was meh, and then you had Sam Rockwell in here, which he was only okay in that performance. I don't know, it just, I've never cared too much about Iron Man 2, and I know a lot of people hate on it, so yeah, Iron Man 2, eh, I'll rewatch it obviously whenever I watch the entire franchise, but it's not one that I love. And then we have Iron Man 3. Yeah, Iron Man 3, what can I say about this? Ben Kingsley, that was a waste of his talent, to be honest. Everything that happens in this film is completely retconned in Avengers Age of Ultron. Yeah, the main villain here, Guy Pearce, he was fine, but like the character himself was pretty bad. The whole like journey on with Tony and this little child, like that's not what I want out of an Iron Man film, to be honest. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of this one, and I know a lot of people do enjoy it, which is, it's good for them, you know, it's Shane Black and stuff, but I don't know. To me, I was not a fan of this one overall. Then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I was not huge on this one either. I mean, Paul Rudd is always fantastic as Ant-Man, but Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp, in this one anyway, it was fine. It wasn't anything special, but I don't know. It was kind of boring. Walton Goggins, I think is his name. Waste of talent. He's a great actor, and I wish that he had more to do in this. But yeah, it was kind of a step down from the original, to be honest. But it's fine. Like, I'll rewatch it, but I wasn't a fan of it. And then right above that one is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Yeah, this was horrible CGI. I don't know what went wrong here, but the CGI was terrible. I did kind of enjoy the adventure that they had in the Quantumania more than other people, I guess. But yeah, overall, it's just, no, this one didn't really work. And like I said, that CGI was so bad. Like, it looked like it was from the early 2000s, which is not acceptable, to be honest. And when did this come out? 2023. So yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, yeah, not great. Next we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, I know there's a lot online about Sean Chandler not being the biggest fan of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I'm right there with him. Honestly, this is not amazing by any means. The original is so much better than this. Yeah, James Gunn just turned like some of these Marvel movies, the comedy was just turned way up. That's what James Gunn wanted to do, and it just didn't really work out, to be honest, in my opinion. I mean, you still got Peter Quill here, who's great. Drax is funny, you know. Baby Groot, when I first watched this one, I thought he was cute, but then every rewatch, I just find him annoying. And wasted talent with Kurt Russell. He's such a good actor, and he just had nothing to do in this. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is placing this low. So it is what it is, I guess. Then we have the original Thor. I do really like this one, actually, to be honest. Now, starting from the original Thor and up, these are all movies that I do like quite a bit, and that I can rewatch. But yeah, Chris Hemsworth is a great casting choice for Thor. Natalie Portman is good in this, and then you have the introduction of Tom Hiddleston as Loki, which that's super iconic, as you all know. But yeah, Thor is good. It's like a fish out of water film, and the worst part about this movie is probably Kat Dennings. I mean, she's a fine actress, but she plays a pretty annoying character. So, but other than that, pretty good movie. Then we have Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Now, like I mentioned in Thor, going forward, these are all films that I do really enjoy. But Black Panther Wakanda Forever is not very rewatchable for me. Now, I was just telling my brother this today. This film feels kind of like a funeral in movie form for Chadwick Boseman, which of course is tragic, and it's not his fault that this film went in this direction. But yeah, it just it feels like it feels like a proper send-off for the actor, but it that being said, it is kind of depressing. So yeah, not rewatchable, but a well-made film in my opinion. Then we have Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, I absolutely love the character of Spider-Man. He is tied for my all-time favorite superhero with Batman. And I didn't love the direction they took the character of Spider-Man and Peter Parker in this one. It was fine, like I enjoy it, but having him in Europe as opposed to New York didn't work for me. A wasted chance for Jake Gyllenhaal to put a stamp in the MCU. And yeah, it was all right. Like I'd still rewatch it. It's Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, but definitely the weakest of the Spider-Man movies in the MCU for sure. And then we have the original Ant-Man, definitely the best of all the Ant-Man movies. Paul Rudd is so likable in this one, as is Michael Pena. He's hilarious. Yeah, Michael Douglas is good in this as well. You know, this is definitely the one movie in all the Ant-Man films that Michael Douglas is great in, I would say. So yeah, Ant-Man is good. Like it's a smaller scale than a lot of the MCU films. But yeah, I do enjoy this one, and that's why it's higher up than the other two. Then we have the Incredible Hulk. Now, this actually gets quite a bit more hate than I think it deserves. Edward Norton did a fantastic job as Bruce Banner. That being said, Mark Ruffalo is probably even better, but Edward Norton does get hate for this. Tim Roth is a great actor, and he does a good job as Abomination. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy this. Like, it has some good drama in it, some good action scenes. Like, Hulk versus Abomination at the end is fantastic. So yeah, I think it's a little underrated. Now obviously it's not super high up there on the ranking, but still underrated in my opinion. And then we have Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. This was all right. I find Aquafina to be horrible. To be honest, her acting is very dry, and I'm just not the biggest fan of her. But other than that, this was a pretty good movie. I thought the action, the scene on the bus is phenomenal with Shang-Chi fighting. Doing his own stunts, you know, but I don't know. It's good, and obviously I enjoy it to an extent, but I did want more, especially at the climax of the film at the end. I wanted more than just a big CGI battle, but it is what it is, and I do enjoy it for what this is. Then we have Black Widow. Black Widow is also kind of underrated. I really like the introduction of Florence Pugh in here as the new Black Widow, and Scarlett Johansson is fantastic in this role. She always has been. David Harbour, he's a great actor. He plays a funny but very well written Red Baron. So yeah, a bit underrated in my opinion, and I guess same with Shang-Chi. The finale is a bit disappointing with all the CGI and stuff, but overall I do enjoy this one, to be honest. I know a lot of people hate on it, but I had fun with it. And then we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This also gets a lot of hate, and you know what? Some of it I agree with. The CGI is pretty terrible. Some of the directions they take this story is annoying, but I can't help but absolutely love the fact that they brought in John Krasinski, the fact that they brought back Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier. They brought Peggy Carter to play Captain America. I mean, they did a lot of fan service stuff here, which I did enjoy, and I had a good time with it, more so than most, I think. And I love the character of Scarlet Witch too. Elizabeth Olsen does a fantastic job as her, so that helps this one as well. And right above it, I have the original Doctor Strange in this beautiful steelbook, by the way. Look at that. But yeah, so Doctor Strange, the original one, I always really enjoyed this one. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was a great casting choice for the character. And yeah, I always really enjoyed his journey to get his hands back to the way they were, but he becomes this hero. Rachel McAdams it was a great casting choice. Tilda Swinton was great in this, so I've always really enjoyed Doctor Strange, and Mads Mikkelsen too. He played a pretty menacing villain in this, so yeah, it gets a lot of hate, but I enjoy this film for what it is. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, I did enjoy this one. There were lots of stuff to like about this. There was lots of like animal cruelty aspects to it, which I thought they did a good job. The character of Rocket is definitely the focal point here, but yeah, I enjoyed this one for what it was. You got more Guardians of the Galaxy banter between all of them, and Drax is as funny as ever. Mantis is good. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite Guardians movie, as you guys have seen. The first one hasn't shown up yet, but I definitely did enjoy this one more than the second one, so that's saying something. And then we have Avengers Age of Ultron. Definitely the weakest Avengers film to date, but I did really like James Spader as Ultron. I thought he did a fantastic job. The introduction of Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch. You got, excuse me, you got Aaron Taylor Johnson, yeah, as Quicksilver. Phenomenal stuff, phenomenal casting with them. Overall, the story is not as good as the original. It's not as good as the two after this, but I did still enjoy this one, and definitely one that I can rewatch and have a great time with. When this first came out, I absolutely loved it. With time, I've grown to disliking it a little more, and the whole romance between Hulk and Black Widow just made no sense, and the MCU never continued with it because they knew fans didn't really care. So there's that. Then we have Thunderbolts, one of the more recent MCU films. I loved some of the stuff they did with this. Florence Pugh is fantastic in here, as she is all the time. David Harbour is great. I'm blanking on the names of some of these actors, but yeah, Wyatt Russell did a good job in this, and honestly, it was a funny smaller scale MCU movie, and I enjoyed it, to be honest, and I'm excited to see where they take some of these characters in the newer movies. And then we have Fantastic Four: First Steps. This was another more recent MCU movie. I haven't rewatched it since the theater. As you can see, it's in the plastic, but I really liked the 60s futuristic aesthetic that this one was going for, like in the old comic books. I really liked that. The casting of Pedro Pascal is fantastic. They got the kid from Stranger Things, I'm blanking on his name, who played Eddie. Great great stuff. Vanessa Kirby as Mrs. Fantastic Invisible Woman. Amazing casting here, and yeah, I thought they did a really good job, and I'm excited to rewatch this one, honestly, because I enjoyed it. I know lots of people didn't, but I enjoyed it. Then we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, this was the introduction of, well, not the introduction of the character, but the first Spider-Man in the MCU. Yeah, they came out swinging with this. Michael Keaton as Vulture is a great villain and a great addition to the MCU. Zendaya was fantastic here. Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man, to be honest. And yeah, a little too much Tony Stark in it for me. Now, I love Tony Stark, of course, but I wanted a bit more Spider-Man, a little less Iron Man, but still had a great time with this one. Then we have Captain America, the First Avenger. This one is also a little underrated, in my opinion. I love the Second World War, the Second World War vibes of this one, if you will. Red Skull, he was a pretty good villain, honestly. And yeah, the introduction of Captain America, Steve Rogers, great movie and pretty underrated, honestly. Then we have the first Black Panther. Now, this one I also really enjoy. The best part about this movie, frankly, is Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. He crushed it, and I was sad to see that character dying at the end of this movie, because despite the fact that he's just a one-off villain, I thought he did such a good job, and I wanted him to keep being in MCU movies. And now, knowing the MCU, they could easily bring him back. They bring back everyone, but yeah, I thought he was the best part about this movie. Chadwick Boseman also did a fantastic job, R.I.P. And yeah, Black Panther, I enjoy it. I rewatch it quite often, and Ryan Coogler's a phenomenal director, so so happy that he's coming back for the third one. Then we have Captain America Civil War. I remember when this movie first came out, this was, I believe, my favorite MCU movie when it first came out. I absolutely loved this one. Now, with time, I have grown to like it a little less, but still high up on my ranking, to be honest. Team Stark or Team Rogers was huge when this first came out. God, 10 years ago now, which is hard to believe. The introduction of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the introduction of Black Panther, some phenomenal stuff here, and I still really enjoy it. It's very rewatchable for me. Then next up we have Daredevil and Wolverine. This is also a fairly new one. I haven't watched it since the theater, but I loved what they did with Hugh Jackman here and Ryan Reynolds, and bringing Daredevil, sorry, not Daredevil, Deadpool. Have I been saying Daredevil? Deadpool and Wolverine. Bringing Deadpool into the MCU was phenomenal. I was so happy they were able to get that character in there, played by Ryan Reynolds still, which is great. And yeah, them bringing in Wolverine as well made us hopeful for the X-Men, which we know are now part of the MCU, so that's fantastic. And yeah, just so happy that Hugh Jackman got to wear the suit. Good stuff. Really, really funny movie too. Really enjoyed it. Then we have the original The Avengers. This one hasn't aged as well as I wish it would have, but that being said, fantastic stuff here. Tom Hiddleston as Loki was a great villain for this movie, and you know, it's funny how huge this was at the time. It was groundbreaking stuff, just bringing all of these characters that were in separate films together in one. Yeah, that was a legendary time in 2012, and I'll never forget that theater experience, to be honest. And though it seems smaller scale now, back then this was a huge event, and I hold this in a special place in my heart, honestly. Saw this with my brother in the theater, and yeah, I've loved it ever since. It's, like I said, it hasn't aged perfectly, the whole Joss Whedon thing, but really enjoy this one regardless. So, The Avengers. Then we have the original Iron Man. Now, this is the one that started it all. RDJ as Iron Man and Tony Stark. Phenomenal casting here. Jeff Bridges as the main villain. He did a fantastic job. Yeah, I've always loved Iron Man ever since I first saw it. I didn't see this in the theater, but I remember getting it as a Christmas gift on DVD back in the day, and I absolutely love this movie. That's why it's so high on this ranking. And yeah, the one that started it all is one of the best, honestly. Then we have Thor Ragnarok. I love this movie. There was a great balance, like I said earlier, with Chris Hemsworth in the comedy and the drama stuff. You brought Helena into this film as a great villain. Loki is back, obviously. Hulk is here. Now, I do prefer the angry Hulk, the Hulk smash stuff, but him as like when he becomes Bruce Banner is good in this one. And yeah, it's just I really enjoy this one. There's great comedy, there's great action, and yeah, it's high up on the list for me. It's very rewatchable. I love like the synthwave soundtrack to this, and Taika Waititi crushed it with this one. Too bad he screwed up with Love and Thunder, but it is what it is. Then we actually have the next one would be Spider-Man Brand New Day. I just saw this today, and I don't know if this is recency bias, guys, but I really, really liked what they did with that film. I thought Tom Holland nailed it. He knocked it out of the park, as did John Bernthal as Frank Castle, the Punisher. He did a fantastic job. I love Sadie Sink in the role that she was given. I won't spoil that here, but yeah, the performances were great. The story was grounded, but also had high stakes. And yeah, I just really enjoyed that one. I thought it was pretty fantastic, to be honest. And like I said, maybe it's recency bias, maybe it'll go down in the future, I don't know, but I really enjoyed it as a huge Spider-Man fan. And then in fifth place, Spider-Man No Way Home. This one just barely got into the top 5. It was between this one and Brand New Day, but in the end, you can't go wrong when you get Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man. As someone who grew up with the original Sam Raimi trilogy, and then when I was a teenager with the Amazing Spider-Man movies, I was just in love with this film. They brought back Willem Dafoe, they brought back Alfred Molina, they brought back Jamie Foxx. It's crazy what they did. It changed the MCU forever with this one, because Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, they teased us with the multiverse, and then this one went full throttle, and I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I've rewatched this movie lots in the few years that it's been out, and I love it more every time I watch it, to be honest. So No Way Home, just barely better than Brand New Day in my opinion. Then in fourth place, we have the original Guardians of the Galaxy. I love this movie. Going into the theater with my brother and a friend of ours, we weren't really sure what we would think of this. Who are the Guardians of the Galaxy? Nobody knew at the time. But then when we watched it, oh my God, did the MCU ever crush it? James Gunn knocked it out of the park. Brilliant casting with all of these characters. Chris Pratt in the title role, that was a gamble at the time, and it paid off big for him and the MCU. Yeah, very funny, very action-packed. Love the space setting of this. Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy will always be one of my favorites all these years later. Then in third place, we have Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This was the most probably non-MCU movie of all the MCU movies. This is very much a political thriller, action, yeah, just very like it doesn't even really feel like a superhero movie a lot of the time. It just feels like a fantastic, like I said, political thriller. Robert Redford in the villain role here, he did a fantastic job. R.I.P. to him. And yeah, I loved what they did with the Winter Soldier, with Bucky. Yeah, everything about this movie I just thought worked, honestly, and it's one that I rewatch very often. Sometimes when I'm not even watching the MCU in a row, I'll just pop this one on because it's phenomenal. I absolutely love this movie. And in second place, we have Avengers Infinity War. The stakes were high, guys, with this one. The stakes were high. The MCU needed to make an Avengers movie that crushed it, and they did. They absolutely crushed it. Thanos was one of the greatest villains in the MCU, and honestly, he's become like one of the greatest villains in cinematic history, if you ask me. Like, this is coming from someone who loves movies from back in the day, from today, and everything in between. Thanos, he put his stamp in there, man. He put his way into one of the best villains in the movies, in all of the movies. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. They brought all the characters back. You got Spider-Man, you got Thor, you got Black Widow, you got the Guardians of the Galaxy here, you got Scarlet Witch. I thought they did a fantastic job with this, and honestly, I love it. I rewatch it all the time. Now, we all knew that after this one, the characters who didn't make it would come back, obviously, but that doesn't really take away from how good this movie truly was. But in first place, guys, I have Avengers Endgame. Now, say what you will, there are some stuff that don't quite work. It is a time travel movie after all, but what does work here, does it ever work? The finale here, the final battle against Thanos, that is some of the most hyped I have ever been in the movies. I got chills, people were cheering. What an event this truly was when it first came out, and still is. Whenever I rewatch this movie, I just something about it, I just absolutely love it. It makes me want to stand up and cheer. I mean, I don't when it's just me by myself in my basement watching this, but you know, I could if I really wanted to. It's that good, and that is why this is number one on my MCU all-time ranking. So that's it, guys. What did you think? Now, I feel like I don't have to say this, but I'm going to anyway. This is my list. This is not the right list. This is not the be-all and end-all of MCU rankings. This is just my personal one. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I'll be back with other rankings, other videos. You know, I'm trying to be a little more consistent on here, and if you guys enjoy it, please let me know, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.